Cancer friends, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Cancer June 2025 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. What a very exciting time for Cancers when we have not only a new moon in your sign, which happens once every 13 moons, this is your time, but on an even grander scale, we have Jupiter, the great benefic, the bringer of luck and expansion and growth, entering your sign for a year starting this month. So we're going to go into all of those details, plus talk about all the other things I think are relevant to help you have the best month possible. This is for you if Cancer is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Cancer placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Cancer friend, so birthdays like July 15th through the rest of the sign, or Cancer degree 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Leo report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so there's a lot to celebrate this month for Cancer, and a lot, as I was mentioning, specific just for you. But there are other things going on in the sky that we really have to talk about so that you're prepared for what's happening. One of the most exciting things to know about this month, besides the things specific to Cancer that we're going to get into, have to do with the fact that we've got all of the planets moving direct, except Pluto, but he's direct a lot. So not only do we have all the planets moving direct, we also have no shadow periods, meaning the time before and after Mercury, Venus, or Mars being retrograde or about to be retrograde. Those shadow periods can cause just as much mischief as the retrogrades themselves. So this month is one of the only months of the whole year that we don't have any of those personal planet retrogrades, meaning the ones closer to us. We don't have a lot of outer planet retrograde action going on, and we don't even have those shadow periods. So if you follow my analogy about the tides, and if you don't, I will acquaint you to it. Basically, I see the rhythms of the universe as tides, and it's more complicated than this because we have a lot of different moving parts. But in general, when the tides are coming in is when the retrogrades are happening. Retrograde energy brings us inward and backward, brings us more to a focus closer to us, within us, and it makes it very difficult to put anything out onto the sea, if you imagine, because the tides are coming in. So anything you try to do where it goes far and wide, or it goes very, for a long period of time, the retrogrades are not always easy to bring those things into action because the tides bring them back to you on the shore. So a lot of the year is spent in a better situation with you waiting to see what the tides bring to you and taking actions and being responsive to those things. But starting in the middle of May, the second half of May and all of June, the tides are going out. Okay, so that means your message in a bottle, your boat to get off the deserted island, your other things you want to travel far and wide. The rhythms are going with going far and wide. So this is the time for your big decisions, your big moves, your big, investments, and, anything you want to take, to be able to go far and wide, basically, because when you birth something at this time, it has the birth date of not having any of the retrogrades to hold it back. So, weddings and engagements and moves and big sales and big purchases, if it's in the flow to happen at this time, has extra blessings for long-term energy. All right. And so you can align your actions with the natural rhythms here to have more ease and grace, so you're not paddling against the tides. So that's a big thing that's happening this month. Also, we're out of eclipse season. We spend a lot of our lives in the heat of eclipse season or in the kind of a shadow up leading into it, because life is change, and eclipses a lot of times will be part of the factors that usher in these rhythmic changes. And so knowing that we're out of eclipse season may be a little bit comforting to you, even if the eclipses of March and April with their effects into May brought you great things. It's just kind of a time to integrate what happened. It's a time to get to the new normal that came from the changes. And it's a time when you're not likely to have, a lot of activity from the eclipse related things, except things following a normal course. Okay. So that's exciting to know. Also, we have a lot of aspects this month, and it's a pretty close profile for sweet to salty. There are only 3 more salty aspects compared to sweet, but there are almost 30 connections between the planets. So that means just regularly we're getting a lot of, they're busy skies. So what we don't have in the retrogrades, what we don't have in the eclipses, we're making up a little bit for in these aspects. But, they, except for two of the outer aspects, they tend to just pass quickly. So just kind of know that there's going to be a lot of activity that way as well. Okay, so something else to know is that we do have a lot of energy in Gemini. No surprise there, seeing as the sun moves into Gemini this time. We also have Mercury there, and we also have Hygeia there. Now, if you're looking at the chart with me, podcast friends, I will put the podcast as the thumbnail, I will put the chart as the thumbnail for the podcast, but that doesn't always sync over. I don't think it syncs over to Spotify. I don't think it syncs over to a lot of places. But if you go to Annie Botticelli podcast Buzzsprout, then you will see the chart if you want to have a look. All right. And of course, YouTube friends, I'm working on it here. So we have outer planets in Gemini as well. Sedna will be there for so long. We don't need to talk about that right now. And Jupiter is there for just until June 9th. June 9th is our big first date to note of the month. That is when, after a year of being in Gemini, Jupiter will go from Gemini into your sign. All right. So let's start to get into that now, because this is a very, very, very exciting time. It's a time when Jupiter is at a point in the chart that it's at one of the big crossroads. So if you're looking at the chart, you see these darker lines. See, these are lighter lines between these houses, and these are darker lines. The places where the darker lines are basically the cusp of the cardinal energies, the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, and the 10th house. When you have an outer planet crossing over that placement, then it's a crossroads time. And this is the biggest crossroads time in a way, because Jupiter is crossing over the ascendant point where it's a new 12-year cycle of rebirth. Okay, you're being reborn at this time in a 12-year cycle. Now, just to kind of speak to those of you who follow charts more closely, if you're confused by why I'm saying Jupiter is moving over the ascendant, and if you're looking at your natal chart with a transit, that it's not. When we're looking at a report for Cancer and you're a Sun Cancer, what we're running for you is a solar chart. Okay, it's not your natal chart. And the solar chart has Jupiter moving over the ascendant. Now, if Cancer is your rising sign, this will match your transit chart as well. If Cancer is your sun sign, you will have Jupiter in a different place in your natal chart. Okay, that's why I always recommend that you watch for your sun sign and your rising sign at least, because these different charts are different dimensions of your astrological picture, and one is not wrong or right. They're happening at the same time. Like two windows in a home. One window has a lake on one side. One window has a busy street. It's like having the experience of that person in that home has the tranquility of the lake out that window, but they also have the busyness of the street, you see? So, there are different charts. That's why I also say if Cancer is your moon sign, there's a moon chart. If Cancer is your Venus sign, there's a Venus chart. It just depends on how deep you want to go into this. But in any case, whether it's your solar chart, whether it's your natal chart, Jupiter is crossing over and it's bringing you to a crossroads. And that is going to change your relationships, hopefully for the better. Sometimes Jupiter will bring more mischief as it brings progress, because it has to sometimes exacerbate something in order for you to take action on it. If you have something going on with your health and you've been ignoring it, sometimes Jupiter will make it more of a problem, so it's in your face, so you have to deal with it. If there are problems underlying in your relationship, and then Jupiter will come along sometimes and enhance the problems, because they need to be dealt with in order for you to step into your next level of happiness, you see? So Jupiter is very mischievous in that way, where it can expand some problems, but only because the squeaky wheels that you have been hearing haven't been responded to. All right? So this crossroads is putting you in possibly a different home, possibly a different work experience, because these angles of the chart, the fourth house, the 10th house, the first and the seventh, that are being aspected with this crossroads with Jupiter crossing here for Cancer, is making powerful angles to those placements. All right. So you're being reborn in this way of a whole new 12-year cycle. You're looking at what your contribution is to the world, what you want people to know you as, how people know you, what you're presenting to the world, and how that can be different. This also just brings expansion to your physical health or your physical body. If you're trying to gain weight, this transit can be one of your best friends. If you're trying to gain muscle and endurance and strength and connection to your body, this transit can also be one of your best friends. So again, it's happening this month, but this is until June of next year as well. Okay, so this is going on for a year. This is a very big deal. Now, if you're not trying to gain weight, you may also notice that you're starting to gain weight. And why is that? That is because there may be an underlying issue with you and your relationship with your body that Jupiter is now exacerbating, which can enhance or amplify comfort eating. If there's something that you're not dealing with, that you're eating those troubles away or doing other things to your body, then it can start to cause some noticeable effects from those behaviors so that you can start to address the underlying issues, if there are any, okay? So that's all happening. You may also expand how people know you. So for instance, maybe you're an artist and now you're going back to school and you become an engineer and you're an artist and an engineer, or vice versa. You know, you may have been doing mom or dad stuff at home and now you're going back into the workforce, but you're still a parent. You know, so Jupiter's energy is very expansive. It's broadening. It adds to rather than takes away, and it amplifies. So things you've been doing, you may now do them to the next degree or the next layer. Things that you've been doing, you may now do them in addition to other things. So just look for this additive effect that Jupiter will have this month, this next year, and also you may have seen some of the signs of what is to come over the last 3 months. So March, April, May, I always see a 3-month radius before Jupiter changes signs where it starts to bring in the things that are going to be coming. Now, something that everyone will be experiencing, but you will also be experiencing, is Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, meaning enhancing everything Cancerian, your inner world, home, housing, family, ancestry, roots, you know, the connection to your family, the focus on your house and the aesthetics. You may find yourself going nuts with trying to improve your surroundings. And if you're going to stay where you are, this is an energy that can help you bloom where you are planted. If you had been restless with Gemini, the Jupiter moving through Gemini, and you will feel some of that restlessness now from the intensification of the short-term planets moving through Gemini, a lot of restlessness. But you may be putting that restlessness into getting something with your home and family situated. So if you have to move, this will be a great time for that. If you are ready to bloom where you're planted, you may notice that over the last few months, and you will see this trend happen over the next year, that you're really focusing on getting your home in order, getting your house in order, getting your inner house in order emotionally, and really tending to some family things that have been needing some attention. Now, if you want to think back to when this happened before to see the kinds of changes that happened, you may notice some trends that will happen now. So think back to like March 2013 through mid-July, like through July of 2014. So from June 2013 to July 2014, Jupiter was in Cancer last time. I'm saying March of 2013 because of that 3-month, thing that I tend to see. So think about what happened to your physical body. Also, many women may find that they're pregnant at this time and your physical body is getting bigger because you have a baby. And this is a way that Jupiter kind of expresses. It's increasing your family size. Maybe there's an in-law that comes in. Maybe, there's something about your family size that may be expanded, or your house or your housing, and some more freedom in your home space. Freedom is a subjective experience. Some people can downsize and be free from their big mortgage and go to a smaller house, and that feels more free to them. And some people can have the other way around, where you go into a bigger house or you move to an area that makes you feel more free. Jupiter may bring that to you. So think back to 2013, 2014. If you want to go further than that, think back to like April of 2001 through August of 2002, and you will have seen similar trends, maybe different manifestations of Cancer and different manifestations of that first house that is also being enhanced at the same time. If something bad happened in those times, it doesn't mean that something bad will happen again. because the stars that were happening then are different than they are now, besides this one thing. But certainly themes along the lines of what I've been sharing are things that you're likely to see. Now, let's just talk a little bit about some of this short-term energy this month. Gemini, very busy, very social, very communicative, virtual and in-person connections with friends, friendships, driving around, traveling, all of those things you may notice, just a lot of restless energy, a lot of busy, active energy, things having to do with transportation, mobility, and communication. Also, this could be amazing for writing. For Cancer placements, you have Gemini in your 12th house, and that can mean like things that you've been thinking about, you may actually produce prolific expression. Art, writing, speaking, anything like that. It can make your mind a little bit more restless and make you feel like you're going crazy, so you may need some sort of technique to get that out. So like writing and then ripping it up, like writing everything on your mind, stream of consciousness of what's bothering you, and then ripping it up. Or like Leslie Temple Thurston talks about in her book, Marriage of Spirits, one of my all-time favorite personal development tools. She talks about polarities, where you write a list of the adjectives that describe your state. And then you find their opposites. And then you ask for whoever you pray to help you be cleared from these opposing forces that are keeping you from being in the present. In this center line, we feel better, right? But when we're thinking over here and we're thinking over here and we're thinking over, we're back and forth, our pendulum never settles in the middle. So those type of exercises can help you to get your settle and get your center back. Okay, so a couple of other things happening at this time. Neptune just recently in Aries. Look for my Neptune in Aries podcast or video to not only see the general implications of this, because it will be happening for 14 years, but also I have it time-stamped per sign. And this is a great crossroads bringing energy for Cancer as well, because it does happen at that angle of the 10th house, which is work, and Saturn is there additionally, conjunct Neptune. So there's a lot going on for Cancer right now, and these are longer term transits. So you are in this crossroads where your home and your family and yourself and your relationships are getting ready to go to their next level. This is an up-leveling opportunity. And sometimes you have to let go of certain things in order to get up to the next level. But this is your impetus to go ahead and do that. Things you've been wanting to do for a while, things you've been wanting to take action on for a while. Not only is this your time in the bigger sense of things, but also this month specifically because of those forward moving planets and all of this happening at once. Okay, so June 11th, we've got a full moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. You may be sending packing to long distance, faraway places. You may be starting an education program. If you want to learn something, you may find a lot of great energy about starting a new education program. If you want to learn astrology, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com. to learn astrology with me. But any topic of education, this full moon in Sagittarius in the days around June 11th especially is highlighting. Now your big new moon, the days around June 25th, this is a new seed being planted within your Cancer placements. Everything that we talked about with home and family and housing and your inner world, you have a special time of a new beginning in the days around June 25th. You may see a lot of new beginnings because of Jupiter seed planting, but this is also your special moment. Now, if you like the dates and you want to see all of the sweet and salty dates, all of my favorite aspects, the ones to be most awareful and careful of, including two long-standing outer planet connections that are affecting us for a while, go to anniehelpsyou.com. Sign up for my free email newsletter. When you scroll down, you'll see free VIP newsletter. Just put your name and email address in. And then when you get the welcome letter, click on the archive link and put June 2025 astrology, and you'll get that right up. If you want to see where all the outer planets, we've got all of the outer planets in a short amount of time. Pluto, Jupiter, Neptune, Aries, Saturn. Uranus will be changing signs next month. We'll talk about that then. But if you want to see what these outer planet transits mean for you personally in your personal chart, I have personalized reports about that. So go to anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B, clarity.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.